Hey guys, how are you doing? And welcome back to another income report video for July 2024. So, were there any surprises in July? Well, I guess I hadn't really been paying that much attention to country stats until I had a look this month and saw just how much the UK has dominated sales for me in July, with over 60% of sales coming from the UK. But even over this whole year so far, the UK has made up over 50% of my sales, with the US being on 38%. But it does seem that the US seems to catch up again in Q4, I think. So that might change when I look at the whole year. My goal was to publish 3 books in July, and I very nearly didn't achieve that. Actually, some of them have only just been published because they were still in review. So, some of the newer books I've recently published in the last 6 months are making some sales now, and not through advertising, they're just making sales on their own. Although I don't think they would be if it wasn't for A+ content, which I have added as soon as the books have gone live, and I think that does make quite a difference. So one of the books sold 23 copies last month, and another of the new books sold 15, and another of them sold 8 copies. And there are some others that just sold 1 or 2 copies here and there. In any case, ultimately, when it comes to publishing, it does all add up. Those small little sales of 1 or 2 a month, some of 10 a month, some of 20 a month, and more, do add up to something more significant over time. And ultimately, that's why I am trying to focus much more on creating new books this year. And I feel a lot happier focusing on that. So I'm really trying to focus primarily on publishing. And as far as this month, I'm only going to have a goal of publishing 2 new books, because one is a low content book, but it's on the higher end of content, you could say, because there are quite a lot of different pages involved and colouring pages and so on. And then there's going to be one high content book that I'm going to try and publish too, and this is my first high content book, so I want to take my time over it. I would like to publish some more books in hardcover as well, especially some that might be given as gifts, and so I really want to have that in place by Q4. And also with the high content book, I have been learning some different techniques with Midjourney, how you can go about creating illustrations and also consistent characters, which I did a video about a long time ago, but that was with the original Midjourney, which was on Discord, and now we've got Midjourney Alpha, so it's a lot easier to use, a lot more user friendly, and I think a lot more people will be happy to use Midjourney now that it's on its own website and not part of Discord. So I hope to do that video soon as well. So Amazon reports are actually down for me at the moment. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing this, but I can't go onto the actual reports page on KDP, and I did contact them and they said that they're having some kind of technical issue, but to be honest, I've been having this for weeks now, still hasn't got any better. It might be that I should go through a different browser or something. I've been using Chrome and that's not been working, but in any case, I thought I'd use KDP Champ today, which is really useful anyway because it does break everything down. The only thing is I have connected my ads to it and it's sometimes slightly off from what it actually is, so I'm not sure what that is, but in any case, it's saying that I did spend $782 on advertising, so this is my ad spend for July, but this is for all platforms, so this is covering the US and the UK, Canada and Australia as well. And as far as the ACOS goes, the ACOS in the UK was 34%, ACOS in the US was 30%, Canada was 25%, and the ACOS in Australia was 17%. So again, the UK and the US were a bit higher than I'd like. That's because I was still running ads to brand new books, at least at the start of the month. I did shut off most of them because, to be honest, they were just spending much more than I'd like, some without any sales, and yet I was seeing some sales without advertising. I have turned off the ads and I am continuing to see some sales. So I think we'll just leave it at that for now because I don't have any reviews on those books yet. So I'm hoping perhaps some reviews will filter through and then I might consider running the ads again. So as far as book royalties this month, the total book royalties were $6,016. And it actually tells you the highest day here as well. So the highest day that I had in July was $356. And that day was right at the start of July. So at the beginning of July, I thought, oh, maybe this is going to be a higher month than I anticipated because usually the summer months are a little bit lower. August tends to be the lowest month, followed by September, I think. And then it starts to go up somewhat in October. So just as a comparison, I just wanted to show you that this was July in 2023 when I made $6,898 in royalties, and you can see the spending was 579 versus 782 this year. As far as the royalties go, it's 12% down on the previous year, and the overall royalties as a net value are down 17%. So overall, it has been down, and it actually this year was even down on the year before that in 2022, which was slightly higher. I think it was 6,300 and something. But nevertheless, it is what it is, and I need to just move on and keep creating new books, because obviously new books are coming out all the time and you're always going to have competitors. It is important to keep evolving and to keep putting out new books as well, so that you can balance that out. And as you can see, I did sell 14 hardbacks, and that was just from one book. So I think I have one other one, but it was just a tester, so I don't think that even sells. But I was really surprised that this particular book was selling in hardcover, because it's pretty expensive, and it just goes to show that it's worthwhile doing. If that's from one single book, it does make me wonder how many more sales I could be potentially getting just by adding hardcovers to some of the bestsellers and some of the books that could be given as gifts. So this is something I'm going to try and work on. Obviously, I think some things are not going to be worthwhile doing. Primarily, it's going to be books that could be given as gifts. So here I wanted to show you the worldwide stats as well. So this is quite a nice feature, and as you can see, there's a map of where all your sales are being made, which is quite nice. So as you can see, the UK made 63% of all the sales in July. So that was nearly $4,000 versus in the US, which only made 26% of the sales. So that's a really quite significant difference. And that's not been the case every month, but it has been the case for most months, I think, this year. And I think that will change a little bit in Q4. That's when it tends to become more of a balance, I think, but we'll have to see. So I just wanted to share what type of books the top 10 were in July. The top 3 were all journals with prompts. 2 were in practically an identical niche, and 1 was in a niche that I only created 1 book in. It was quite a narrow niche, but it's still unusual that I wouldn't have created more books in that niche. I don't know why I haven't. Perhaps I should create a few more. But that one is actually high selling in Australia, bizarrely. Then the 4th best-selling book in July was just a notebook. It's just got a funny quote on the front. It used to sell quite well, but then it started selling a lot more in the US after it was being bundled with other gifts in the same niche. And books 5 to 10, again, they were all guided journals or journals with prompts in a very similar niche. There are a couple that are more in a sub niche than the same one, but still all quite similar. So that's why I do always recommend that if you are making sales in a certain area, to try and create more books in that niche when you can, and also into sub niches that surround that. For the most part, that's where I've seen the most success, where I have created multiple books in the same area. So let me know how your July was, and whether you reached your own publishing goals, or what your plans are now for August. And are you already planning for Q4, which actually is just around the corner, which is crazy. But I think that's going to be all for now. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will speak to you again very soon.